I'd like to ask you about uh, Don Juan's from Carlos Castaneda's Don Juan's Four Natural Enemies of a Man of Knowledge.
Oh, that's going to be fun. Okay,
So,
good. It'll be fun. Yeah, it's good. And some people will never respond to, the Tibetans or the Buddhists or any of that, and they will just fall over themselves for, curanderismo or, nagual or that whole enterprise. The shamanism, that's a big fad in the U.S. It's hilarious. It's especially for Mexicans. It's just funny as hell. I mean, I could tell you stories about the adventures of Latin Americans in the U.S. and losing their land and losing their farms and ranches and so on and so forth. But the color is really something else, and so that's for another time. But next question.
the four are fear, clarity, power, and old age, and they're also presented in that order. My first question is whether it's your experience on your own end in teaching that these are conquered, as Don Juan says, in order, in that order.
Oh, this is great. What are they again?
Fear, then clarity, then power, then old age.
Beautiful. I mean, this is why you read some people and you don't read others. And why I hate to be one of those kind of people, but frankly, there are some books who will pay you, you know, $100,000 to read them, and other books will cost you, you know, $20 over a period of time. So, if someone says, "Look, I've read both books," and one is works and the other one doesn't work, and one has the substance, the real deal, and the other one is, it's popular. Popularity and effectiveness are almost directly inversely uh, related, with almost no exceptions, except for the four agreements. And back in the day, everybody went gaga over Scott Peck. And then 10 years later, everybody went gaga over Deepak Chopra. And so everybody was following Deepak Chopra back then, or Oprah, I don't know the details. But that's a big mistake. That's a huge mistake because you could inadvertently follow a guru, a wrong one, for 10 years, 5 years, 1 year is too much. And he's not leading you anywhere. He's working out some neurotic problem that he got, I don't know where, but whatever he's doing, it's wrong. And the people that are attracted are the most gullible. And so, I guess it works out. The gullible get the people who take advantage of them. But has nothing to do with this enterprise, right? I hope that's clear. So fear has to be overcome. Sooner or later, you're going to face some sort of challenge or abyss that you're going to have to stand up on your own 2 feet and fight for yourself, or jump for yourself, or fly for yourself. I don't know the details, right? But you're going to have, this work does take courage. And one of the fascinating things is that's something that the Tibetan Buddhists never mention. But it could be because of their culture. This is not scary to jump into a space that you've never been to before, and to encounter things that are less superficial than the mundane world, because you're going deeper into consciousness. So fear actually could be a paramita, but it would make a big mess. So that could be the secret paramita for people that are further along in the way. With regard to clarity, you got to have clarity or you can't read a book. You got to have clarity or you can't understand what someone is saying. It just kind of, your mind just glazes over and you give up. So once you've overcome fear, then you will have a much more clarity. And then if you wake up, you've got a lot more. I mean, you're limited by the human brain, the animal brain, but you've got a lot more clarity. Also, there's the issue of power, which, of course, is very, very useful in this human life. And then old age, all of us, I can speak with authority, are only going to live so long. If you're lucky, you get a prior announcement of your death, but I'm giving it to you now, so consider yourself lucky. Death will come before you're ready for it. There are things that should be done in this life, in your life and my life, that hopefully you've done them, because you don't want to live a life, especially the last parts of it, just in misery, regretting the things you didn't do, or the things you did do. Most of them are the things you didn't do, frankly. And now is when you need this. And so the most devastating thing can happen to you, but if you're rooted in the way, it won't disturb you. I mean, you have the disturbance of, maybe having to pack up the stuff from your house and, run away, or, kill a few soldiers on the way out, or, who knows what's going to be served up to you. But in the final analysis, it's not of concern particularly, because you're not really of this world. As Jesus put it, the kingdom of God, he said, I am not of this world. Or I'm not somebody asked him, are you the king of the Jews or something like that? And he says, I'm not a king of this world, or something like that. But old age, there's a hard limit on this process. And this is something Americans have a hard time. They say, oh, well, I'll just do it when I'm 65. I'll do it when I'm 60. I'll do it when I'm 50. No, you can't do that. After a certain age, and the Sufis are much more willing to say it out loud, you're not going to make any progress in this. And the most any of us can do is like hold your hand, pat you on the back, and tell you not to be too afraid of death, and to remember the Bible studies or whatever you studied when you were a little kid. But it's regretful that they don't have peace at the end of their life. So if you want peace at the end of your life, you're getting warned now. You're going to have to do some preparation for it. And it doesn't matter what your age. It's not too early to start if you're hearing this. So I'm just speaking from the experience of an old man, right? So I can tell you, yeah, old age, sickness, and death. They weren't joking. They are not joking about any of this, frankly. And so hopefully you get to old age and you're prepared. Any follow-up questions? I like it.
Seeing as they're enemies, can you speak to the potential for clarity and power as enemies of a man of knowledge, as opposed to being essential factors?
Oh, okay, sure. Let's take them in turn. Clarity. He's being a little clever, as the way these guys are. Mexicans have great sense of humor, and there's no better time than just hanging out with a bunch of Mexicans doing anything, frankly. And so, he's just hanging out with his kid. And what did he say? He said, what? What was the first part? What was the first one? Clarity. Clarity is the enemy of a man, because, for example, his student, Carlos Castaneda, is perfectly clear. Look, my role in this world is to do anthropology, and I'm here to take notes from you, old man, and I want to learn about plants. And then, okay, well, I changed my major a little bit, sir. Now I want you to tell me about consciousness, because once I understand what consciousness is, then I can go back for my PhD thesis, and, I'll set everything straight. And then the next question, and it goes on and on and on. So clarity is another way of saying certainty, right? The enemy of any thinking man, especially if he's a serious man. So what's the next one?
Power.
Well, we'll just look at Bush, look at Biden. I mean, do we need any comments further than that?
Good.
All right. Soros. Who's the other one? I gotta be balanced, because I am. What's his name? Koch, K-O-C-H. The red Soros. Okay. The other thing about them is it's just a lot more. I mean, those guys are a lot of fun. So are the Tibetans, and so are the Sufis. But Sufis, you need to be a Muslim to be a real Sufi, and you need to be a really, 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 really good Muslim to even dream of that. But for Muslims, I don't know why they wouldn't go all the way. More than a few of them have, and they've got everything they need right there within their religion. Something I can't say for Christianity at this moment, unless you're part of one of their special enterprises. Place where they put you away, frankly, because they don't want you to know this, tragically.